What's good, YouTube? So just a quick update. I haven't made a video, I think, since Halloween, but I was out in Glamis for Halloween. Everything was good. Then we took a day trip, Veterans Day, and my X3 primary clutch went out. And I have it apart or off the X3, but check this out. So it pretty much messed up my whole primary. Not sure what caused it. I am running an Evo clutch kit and everything was running good. The only major thing I did was I had my RPMs when I was at the dunes were kind of low, so I moved my Helix to increase my RPMs, and it was running real good, but I never noticed the damage it was doing to the primary. That's the main thing I think that caused it. Not sure what really caused it. Talked to Evo and they never seen anything like it, but things happen. After talking with Evo, they were telling me that I'm over clutched in a way, because when I got my Helix installed, they placed a 49-43 Helix. They were telling me that this Helix is more for drag racing on a 2-seater lighter car. So they advised me to get a different one, and I went ahead and bought a whole new one. I could have just bought the Helix itself, which is this part, but I went ahead and got the cap with it. That way I can, because otherwise this was gonna just stay here in the garage, and I'll rather get some money back off of it. So I'll sell it to someone eventually who will put it to good use at least. But my X3, when I did all the clutching, I did see a difference, but I never saw like a difference to where I was like, oh, okay, damn. But it was all, I'm assuming I was just not clutched correctly. But I did take it to a shop. They did the clutching. Times like that, it reminds me why I should just do my own work. But here we are, a year later. I did talk to the shop that did it, and they told me you should have just contacted us. We would have made it right. But I already trusted them once, and they could have made it right, but I didn't want to go that route. It was a year afterwards before anything happened, and time to get it right. So they advised me, Evo themselves advised me to get this one, and since I was at it, I am gonna be working on my secondary. Since I'm gonna take it apart, I went ahead and got some new rollers, the Rhino rollers. Mines are decent, I think. I'll take them off and inspect them. I also got a coat shooter. These are just parts for it, and as a replacement for the primary, we are gonna be going with the new style P-drive clutch. So brand new P-drive. This is going on my machine, which is a 2021. I did get the code shooter to update my tune, and I did already update it. Some people were having problems with it, and they recommended an update on the Evo tune. What else do I have? I had a blown fuse, so I went ahead and bought a whole pack of fuses. The primary still does need the bearing, which I have all the stuff here. And I bought a roller puller. So we'll be replacing those rollers. I think I left the code shooter connected. Oh, I put it away. But I'm running the Evo Stage 3 with the 91. So code shooter with the cable, and you plug it to that one right there. Pretty easy process to get the tune updated. When I had barely got the tune, I didn't get the code shooter, but finally got it over Black Friday, so a little discount there, and now we can update our tunes if we ever need to. The other thing I did was I didn't get the primary bolt, but I don't like that it's kind of rusted. So water event at one point got in here. I didn't like that these were getting rusted, so I was able to get this one because it was only like $30 or less. Can't remember. I got it from RPM. It's this one, which is titanium. So we're gonna upgrade to this one. Nothing's wrong with this one, I just don't like the rust it has. And I could always, and it's mainly the washer, so I could clean it up and stuff, but $20-$30 for this one doesn't hurt the pockets, so we'll upgrade to it. Same thing, titanium is a little stronger, I believe. And one more thing I want to add is I found this little kit on eBay for like 30 bucks. I was just gonna go, I don't have any clutching tools. I was just gonna go today and buy this rod from like Ace Hardware with some washers and some nuts, because all it does is compress. It compresses. But I found this one for $30, so I took a chance on it, and it seems like it's gonna work just fine for the prime or the secondary. I'll place it there. We'll get our secondary, place it here, and then this is just a holder, because when you undo these bolts, it loses a spring compression and it'll want to pop off. So then we get this little thing which fits. I think it said it was universal, so pretty easy to use. Instead of buying like the $100 ones, that was, for what it does, I was not gonna spend $100 on it. Before we get started, you're gonna look for these little arrows here. There's one here, and there should be one right on the opposite side, and I filled it down here. So what I'm gonna do is just mark it here on the side. And then another mark right across from it. Just to make it easier, instead of looking here and down here, I know that these 2 points are where my arrows are. This bolt here doesn't have to be extremely tight. It's mainly so it doesn't pop off. So as long as it's on there, it's not gonna pop off all the way over here. Then I'm just gonna use, you can either use some torque heads or a size 13 for these bolts. It's 3 of them. Now I'm just gonna use the size 13. And this tool I have, it was a size 18 nut here. So we'll slowly back it off. I think I just heard it separate. But And back it off just right before. Make sure there's no tension in that spring. There we go. It just popped off. I see a lot of belt debris. So it was eating up my belt. Here's the secondary with my spring. Looks like we have a crack here, but that shouldn't cause any damage. Looks like it's pretty stable still. So we'll keep that together. This is the part we're looking for. To replace the rollers, you don't have to do all this, but since I'm doing the Helix, that's the reason. And I'll probably give it a good cleaning. There's no real wear on it, just some markings, but nothing, no grooves. It's all pretty flat. So brake cleaner and one of those Scotch Brite pads should get me through. My rollers are pretty good still, actually, but if you're doing this, might as well do it the right way and do the upgrades while you're at it. Let's check the other one. Here's this one, about the same, no real grooves in it. Not sure what this is, just like a scratch, but shouldn't cause any harm. Pretty dirty stuff. Let's take a look at our Helix. So this is our Helix. Now that there's no tension, it seems like it's kind of loose, but here's our little bit of wear. Nothing crazy though. Just a good cleaning and we should be pretty good. Let's compare these. So, not a huge difference that I can see. From those angles. So I'm currently setting up the tool. This is it didn't come assembled. So you get the bolt, you throw your nut, and then you put your washer, and then you assemble this. One of the sides has a hex. I threw the hex in there, and I just threw it on by hand. This is the other part, and it's just gonna go in here. We're gonna add some grease. They recommend to put some grease here in this bolt. But before we get to that part, we're gonna remove all three of these. There's three, and they're T20s. So make sure you're careful and you don't strip them. They're not on there too tight, and they're pretty much just made to hold the pin that's in there in there. That way it doesn't come out. I'll completely remove it. And then we can start setting up this tool. It'll go like this. And then this one will thread into the pin that's in there. I got my grease in there. And I mean, it does get a little messy, but it's no big deal. Clean the bolt. And start putting this on. We'll thread this in all the way. Think we're there. So I'm gonna give this a try. If I feel like it's not coming, I'm gonna apply some heat here. Did go out, actually got this at Walmart, and just in case we need it. So these are both 3/4 wrenches, and you'll need them on the outside one. You're just gonna hold it still while you turn this one. This one's gonna go clockwise. And I'm feeling a little resistance, but I feel that it's coming. So we're gonna keep at it slowly. And all you wanna do is bring it out just enough to where you can remove the roller and install the new one. So that was quite a bit. Here's our roller. I didn't change these out, so these should be the OEM ones. Has a little washer that we're gonna be reusing. But yeah, let me show you what it looks like. So that's the pin. You can kind of see it in there still. And almost came all out. This is what it looks like when the pin is still in there. So the pin is all the way in. You can't really see it through that hole. Same with this one. It's all the way in. And that's what this bolt does. Goes straight in there and holds that pin in place so it doesn't back out. And to put it back in there, we're gonna tap it in with a little punch. So let's back this off because we won't need it for this one anymore. So if you ask me, that one went pretty smooth. So when I put them side by side, my rollers were actually pretty new. I want to say they're the factory ones. I don't know. I don't think they would have changed them when I did my clutch kit or my Helix. They didn't mention it at least. But here they are. Maybe a little little signs of wear. They could have still lasted, but we're going with the new ones. So to put it back, we're gonna use a punch. Let's see which one's the best one. Probably use this one. I'll get a workbench one day. So I got the roller in there with the washer. Now I'm gonna tap this back in. I'm probably gonna do a hyperlapse because it does take a few. And I'm gonna be using, I think it's a 2-pound, a 2-pounder that I have. That's the biggest one I have, so we'll tap it in. So after the hyperlapse, I did finish it and put it back in there. This was the first one, but it's not freely spinning, so something didn't go right. I redid another one over here, and look at this one. This one free spins. This one I recorded for my TikTok. I just did a hyperlapse, and this one was good. The only thing I did different though was that the pin, I brought it out to about right here, and I got a little 220 sandpaper, and I just gave it a little quick sand, and it went shiny again. Not sure if that's the reason it free spins now, but it seems like it fit a lot better than this one. So not sure if this one didn't go in correctly, but I'm gonna leave it till the end so I can remove it. In the meantime, I'm gonna finish this one up, do the same thing as I did with this one, and then I'll keep you guys updated. So this is what I'm talking about. I brought it out a lot. It's still in there though. And this just allows me to give it a quick sand. It is pretty rough in here. And that's what helped with this one. I should have just bought the kit with the new pins. I'll give it a quick sand with this one. It's not much. It's just to remove the top layer of all those scratches. And we'll see what happens. Not sure if you'll be able to see the difference, but I gave it that quick sand. And I'm not doing it with a lot of pressure. It's just a quick little sand all around. Let's see our roller. Do a quick test fit. Everything looks good. So I'll put that one back in and we'll see what the end results are. Alright, so I ran out of time yesterday. It got dark on me. And I do have 2 rollers in, and if you recall, I was gonna remove one of the other ones. As I was removing it, I stripped the pin, so I didn't finish yesterday. I had to go get one today at the dealer, and of course the only place that had it was the dealer that was furthest away. Let's see if I can show you the pin. Luckily, I was able to remove it. It did take me a bit to get it off. Alright, so I found the pin. I kind of stripped it as I was bringing it out and punching it in. But what I did notice is that it does look a lot thicker than, I don't know if they expand with time. This is the part number. You end up paying about $21, $22. I got it from Right Now. But that's the pin number if you were to do this and you need an extra pin. I did have to drive like 30 minutes away just to pick it up. But check these out. So you know how I told you that I was sanding this one down, just because this one doesn't look as bad, but the other one I did do a quick sand and it worked out great. Both of these are freely spinning, but I wish I had something to measure them. But just off of, I don't know if you guys can tell, but one does seem like it expanded, which is this one, and I think that's why the roller was kind of stuck. My clutches, I didn't think I would have needed them, but thinking back, I do have like 2,000 miles plus on the X3, so it was due for some new pins. I should have just got the kit with the new pins, but I didn't. Lesson learned. So for you guys that are gonna do this, I recommend you just get the whole kit with the pin and washer. It was too late for me to do that. Alright, so let's get this one on. Where's my washer? Just getting it started a little bit. Put that in place. Make sure it's catching on. I can even feel the pin going in easier. So I think the other one had expanded already. And there we have it. We are all set. We'll get our bolts. And I'm just using blue Loctite. Not sure what the torque spec is on this. I'll get them in there and then I'll look it up. There we have it. I couldn't find the torque specs for these. Only the actual 3 bolts that hold the clutches together. Those were torqued to 45 foot-pounds. These I'm just gonna do hand tight. They weren't really super tight on there when I removed them. There we go. And with the blue Loctite, they should hold. All it does, it holds that pin in place. So although I'm free spin now, I did damage these little pulse bolts. It says they're M4s, so I'm just gonna go to probably Ace Hardware. So one stripped, that's the one I struggled to remove. Is stripped inside, so that was the main reason that I struggled, but we got it done. For future recommendation, make sure you swap the pins with new ones, unless you have a pretty new clutch. But there we have it. Now let's start getting it ready for the Helix. What I'm doing right now is giving the sheaves a quick clean. So I use the green Scotch-Brite with a little bit of brake fluid just to scratch them up a little bit. I don't know if you can tell. And then I'll install them and then give them another quick clean just on the inside. But this one's the one I kind of worked on already. And when you're doing this, you don't want to go in the direction of the way the belt's gonna be riding. So either circular motion like so, all the way around, or just straight like this. So that just helps with the grip. And if you were to do it the way the belt rides, it's just, there's no friction. The belt's gonna ride the same way. And this is just the way I've always done it. So you just scratch the opposite of the way the belt runs. But this is the clean one, and this one's the not clean one. So I'll work on cleaning this one. You can kind of see where the belt rides, but to the touch there's no grooves or anything, so we should still be okay. So let me get this one cleaned, and then we'll get ready to put it back together. Alright, so we got our first piece here. You look for your arrow. I'm gonna put it facing towards me, and get the second piece, and then look for the arrow, which is right there. Got my little marking right there. And then we're gonna get our spring, and we're gonna make sure it goes in there. So with the plastic, make sure it sits in there pretty good. And if you can turn the spring and the sheave, or this piece moves, that means it's in there. And we'll get our brand new Helix, and I'm gonna start it in position 5. So this spot's gonna go in 5. There we go. And then let's get our compression tool. Let's get our washer. And our bolt. And I kind of have to align it by hand. Let me see if I can show you in there. So watch out for the rollers, and then in there, make sure it's going in there correctly. So let me back this off. So if you can see in there, it's not, like if I was to tighten right there, it wouldn't go in. So I have to move the clutch from down here to make sure it aligns. You see that slack there? So make sure you get it right. So we can go ahead and tighten again. But I'm gonna undo it because I wasn't paying attention, and my sheaves are in a line with each other. So let's undo this a little bit. Get it back so the two arrows are pointing. Now we can tighten. I think it's compressed enough. Let me get it out of the vise. we'll turn it around. Let me show you guys. You should get this where they're aligned. There's a little bit of residue from the red Loctite that was used. So, there we go. Got it off. So I'm gonna start one on. I'm just gonna start it off, and then let me get my red Loctite and I'll put all these bolts back together. So I got my red Loctite. Just gonna put a little bit in the outside threads. You don't want a whole lot on this, in case you ever have to remove them. These get torqued down to 45. Got the next one ready. Let's see if we can get it started here. So before you put these on, make sure you're still aligned here with your arrows. And these go torque to 45. So for now, I'm just gonna kind of hand tie, or just tying them to where I feel comfortable with taking them off, and then I'll torque them to spec. Okay, let's go back on the vise. And we're back on the vise, and we are good to start removing this. Here it is, new Helix. Our sheaves are looking really good. And I'm just gonna torque these to spec and then just mark them, make sure they don't lose position, and we'll be all set.